we're going to talk about campaigns today and the HubSpot tools. My name is Jen Meyer. I am COO and the Director of HubSpot Operations here at BizzyWeb. A little bit about me, I've done pretty much everything in marketing, been a HubSpot partner since 2017, and we do lots of implementations and things of campaigns and training around those things as well. So today we're going to go over, what are campaigns, building a strategy, proving ROI, and new enhancements. So what are campaigns? Campaigns in HubSpot are different. So typically, a typical marketer looks at a campaign as...
Hey, Jen.
Yes.
Before you get into it, we're hearing a little bit of reverb from Dave. So, Dave, can you mute while she's talking?
Thanks very much. I will do so. Thanks, Trigby.
So a lot of times marketers think of campaigns just as one marketing tactic. If it's an email blast, a social media blast, things like that marketers are going to do to push information out. In HubSpot, what campaigns are, they're multi-asset pushes that require an investment. Ideally, we want to look at things that are generating leads for sales, because campaigns looks not only at the marketing assets, but it also looks at the sales tools. So it's a really nice way to join those two together so that you can see what's really effectively working for your market and what's not. Some of the uses, anything that has a bigger push. As we're looking at pushes for trade shows, you potentially have multiple emails, landing pages. You might have a form for people to fill out for lead capture, things like that. Your typical inbound campaigns, product or service promotions or launches, events. Support and customer delight can even be a campaign, because then you can see how much your support engine is also generating repeat sales for clients as well. Any questions on that at all?
Is there a time when you shouldn't use campaigns, Jen, or is this something that just every time you are doing something in HubSpot, you should attach it to a campaign?
I get that question a lot. I think, from an overall standpoint, I wouldn't make a monthly newsletter into a campaign. I wouldn't make RSS emails into campaigns. If you are promoting the social culture of your business on your website, unless you're using it for a potential hiring campaign, I don't know that I would attribute those to campaigns either. So really, it's just kind of bigger pushes, typically that envelop your strategy for both sales and marketing. So that's why, we want to look at the multi-asset pushes.
I have a question, Jen. As you have support and customer delight listed here, I sort of get the concept of campaigns for customer delight, but for service, can you unpack that a little? And how would you create a campaign around better service?
So we actually have a campaign for support at BizzyWeb. What we look at with that is, we look at, the NPS surveys are included in that. We also include, emails that go out for support, the pages that we have with support forms and things like that. And then what it does is, if people are tagged with having, taken part in those support events, be they a form fill or the emails or things like that, it will attribute that to the campaign. And then, if they follow up and order something else from us, that gets attributed as well. So I think it's a good metric of customer delight. Would it be a marketing push? Not necessarily, but you can use campaigns for a couple different things.
Got it. So I think a lot of people don't know that you can use HubSpot for service.
Yeah, definitely. It has a great customer service engine where you can do knowledge base, you can do surveys for CSAT, NPS scores, just custom surveys if you want. Also, you can use it has ticketing, and shared inbox similar to sales. So you can have one channel for everybody to look at. You can incorporate chat. You can incorporate, pretty much anything into it, and everything stays with your contact and company records. So it's really kind of a powerful tool.
Cool, thanks.
Mm-hmm. So campaigns in action. What campaigns do is it allows you to tag related marketing assets. So, anything you create within the marketing tools, advertisements, forms, web pages, landing pages, emails, social, all of those things, CTAs, can be assigned to a campaign. And then what the campaigns tool does is it will watch how people interact with your marketing assets, tag them as being a part of that campaign, and then, basically start tracking your sessions and users and all the way through to closed revenue. You can also collaborate with your team on campaigns. Some of the new features that we'll go into kind of talk about all the new collaboration tools, which is really exciting for campaigns. So how do you build a strategy? Of course, we need to start with SMART goals. The strategy around your campaigns really, really varies company to company. I train companies all the time on marketing tools in HubSpot. I have one client who is using, their events as their campaign strategy. But their events is what's driving new sales for them. What you want to do is you want to look at your company strategy, figure out how marketing fits into it, get your KPIs from that strategy, and then look at what tactics you need to accomplish that. You might have 3 or 4 campaigns for each KPI just so that you can manage effectiveness. But also we need to look at what leads to lead generation, because at the end of the day, every marketer wants to prove ROI, which is really hard for marketers to do. Any questions about the strategy?
So would you first, I would assume that this all happens as part of any inbound campaign, right? Or any inbound attempt.
Campaigns are a great one to measure because, the idea is to nurture them through to warm up the sale. Same with trade shows, the idea is to get leads. So, trying to incorporate all of that into your strategy is key.
Cool. Thank you.
So what are the big pushes? From your company goal, you can create campaigns for just the larger marketing pushes that you're doing. Again, think about things that are multi-asset related. What are you blogging around? What are you posting on social media? What are you using emails for? This is the image is out of our portal, and I'll dig into our portal in the demo section of the presentation. So as you're creating a campaign, things that you want to consider, who's going to own it? What are the dates that you're going to run this campaign for? It doesn't have to have a date in it. The only thing that's required is the name of the campaign. But you can also put goals in there, audience, budget, any details. So you can put notes in it. It's a great way just to, have a little encapsulation of each of the campaigns. And then you want to add in your marketing assets. So everything under the add assets section are things that you can add into your campaign. You can do that as you're creating them. Every one of these tools within HubSpot has a section, like for example, an email. It's in the section where you are putting your subject line and things like that. In social media posts, it's, when you're building it in the build screen. Landing pages is in the settings screen as well. So you can do it when you create them. And you can create a campaign right from those pages. You could also add them retroactively. So this is the screen for when you add them retroactively. It will track still all of the stats that you have related to those. So if you want to go back in history and add, start doing campaign strategies, you can. But as soon as you start this up, it's going to look at all of those stats and start tracking efficacy.
Jen, we had a question come in from Jennifer, and she asks, is there a way to track expenses in a HubSpot campaign? And is that like a custom field, or how might you do that if you're trying to attach expenses?
There is not. You can edit the budget screen, but that's one of the things I believe that they are putting into, the future roadmap for managing your campaigns.
Is there an export function or feature so that you could maybe get it into a CSV and then maybe attach that or add like a Google Sheets or something, or an Excel file?
There is an export function. Mm-hmm.
I think Jen's probably right, but to Jennifer's question, I think isn't there a way, if you're talking about expenses, I think that's the question is what does she mean by expenses? Obviously, if your creation of an asset, you can't really control that, but you could do have ad spend against a campaign, couldn't you?
Correct. And the ad spend would be retained within the ads tool. It won't automatically calculate within the campaign screen, but you can get to it really easily from there.
Gotcha.
And Jennifer notes that she's putting it in the notes field right now, which isn't great, but would that export as well? Like if you have a note, can you export that as part of the?
I believe so.
Well, maybe that's the way to get around it, is just to pop it in use notes and then grab that column and then kick it out.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of expenses are you looking to track, Jennifer? Can you put it in the chat pane?
Yeah, so I manage all of our trade shows and events.
Sure.
And so when I'm talking about expenses, I mean all of the expenses we're putting towards the trade show. So booth costs, travel, all of that stuff. So ultimately, I'm trying to get at, there's a spot inside of HubSpot for what your budget is for the year, but I'm trying to get at, okay, that's great. But if I stick to my budget, but we only get, 4 leads, our cost per lead is really high. So just trying to track between the actual budget and what we're actually spending.
Absolutely. What I would do is I would make sure that as you create your campaigns for your shows, I wouldn't have just an overall trade show campaign. I would have a campaign for each trade show. And I'll bring that up later as we're looking in the system. What you can do as you're doing your reporting and everything, you can actually choose which campaigns you want to look at on any report. And then you can, I don't know why that switched, but okay, we'll go with it. You could choose whichever ones you want, and then you could have like a trade shows campaign overall, report for your campaigns. Does that make sense? Yep. Unfortunately, they don't have like line item expenses within campaigns for those kinds of things, but notes is a great place to put it in.
Yeah, and that's how we're doing it now. Each of our trade shows is set up as its own campaign within HubSpot.
Wonderful.
This might be elementary, but I think the other thing you can do is as you're adding new contacts to the list based on the trade show, then you can trace the contacts through the sales process to be able to report back that, we got X amount of contacts that turn into Y amount of money from Z campaign, which in this case was the trade show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. It'd just be easier if we could do that all in HubSpot and not having to pull info out of, multiple places and then trying to figure it out in a spreadsheet elsewhere. So
I am making a note. I will add that to product management at HubSpot.
Which is kind of fun because Jen has the ear of the product management team. So we'll log that for you. One question that I should have asked when we started chatting about this, Jennifer, I'm assuming you have Pro?
Yes. I'll be demoing a Marketing Pro today.
No, I'm for Jennifer, just for her level, I'm sure she's got Pro level HubSpot suite.
That is a great question. I mean, we have like an enterprise-wide. Yeah, so I would assume that's what it is, but I don't know if that's exactly. Yeah. I don't know what the right word for it is, but yes.
Sure.
You'll get the campaign tools, either the Pro or the enterprise versions of HubSpot marketing tools.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and Deanna says would be better to log it on campaigns. You could use a custom deal or a custom object pipeline, and each event is a deal, and then you can have custom properties.
Yep, that's very true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And as long as we're asking about the level, Is there a level like can starter do campaigns or measuring against campaigns, or is this a pro level and higher?
No, campaigns is only in pro and above.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
All right, so getting through to proving ROI. Now, every marketer knows that we need to look at return on investment for what we're doing. All of our companies want to see this. It proves that what we're doing is working, to get through to those KPIs and those goals as we're moving forward with our, marketing teams. So HubSpot lets you show the worth of each campaign and asset in your marketing. What you're going to see within any campaign is right in that little bar, you'll see the sessions, how many new contacts were created. Anything that's blue in HubSpot, you can actually click on. So when I click on those new contacts, I get a list of contacts that participated within the campaign. Now, contacts can participate in multiple campaigns. So, and we'll talk about that as we go down the row. Influence contacts, those would be contacts that you already have in your database that also participated somehow within this campaign. And it could just be that they visited the page. It could be that they saw the CTA. It could be that they filled out the form. But you can get down to that information by clicking through and into the contacts. Closed deals. This ties in with your sales pipeline. So it's going to look at not open deals, but ones that have been closed won. Since that's a blue number, you can also get to the names of what the deals were as well and click through to those. And then it'll give you influenced revenue. So like I said before, contacts can be within multiple campaigns. As marketers, we know that you need, 8 to 10 to 50 touches, before somebody's actually going to purchase. So, people may be within multiple campaigns if they've interacted with your assets that are assigned to different campaigns. So it's influenced revenue. It's not assigned revenue. But it really does help to say, you know what, back to the expense example, I spent, $100,000 on this show. I got 192 from it. So, that's a good ROI, I think, for the investment that we put in. Does that make sense?
For sure.
You can also look at asset performance. So you can dive deep and look at which assets are performing the best. Each of these I've collapsed for the screenshot, but if I were to expand them, I would get on each of the 8 forms, I would see all of the views and submissions for each form. Emails, I'm going to be able to see all of the email stats for the 200 emails that are a part of this campaign. Same with social posts, workflows, et cetera, et cetera. But just at a high level, you can see what is working. You can also do things like compare the emails within a campaign and see where people are falling off if you want. It lets you make some changes in real time so that you can make sure it performs at its best. So we're going to dig in now.
And this is where I did chat over. If you have any particular use cases that you'd really like us to try and replicate, please go ahead and put those into the chat so that we can take a look at it. Or feel free to just unmute and ask us, because I think this is a great time to dig in a little deeper and to see how it's going. And as a reminder, if you are asking a question, please note that this is being recorded and we're going to be publishing it live on a post. So no personal information or things that you don't want published elsewhere. And also, if you do have something that you'd like to handle in a non-public forum, we would be happy to stop recording at like a few minutes to the end of the event tonight or this afternoon, and we'd be happy to run through some things with you in a non-recorded format.
All right. Well, we have this in our portal. We have a campaign performance dashboard, which I will get to in a little bit. I thought I'd recap with reporting towards the end. But if you go to marketing and then go down to campaigns, this is where you're going to see all of the campaigns that you guys are working You can search, you can sort by owner, you can sort by, a multitude of filters that you have, which makes it very, very easy to, look into what you have going on. Some of the other things that you can do with this is if you go into calendar, anything that's assigned to a campaign is going to show up on a calendar, which is great. As I click into these, you're going to be able to see all of your social posts. And if you hover over them, you can see all of the text, just preview. You can also click into them to get a little bit more information. This is published, so it doesn't give me an edit button, but you should be able to edit it right from here. You can also see tasks and what webinar or what other campaigns are still running. That's really valuable information as well. You can change this if you want to a weekly view, a daily view. It's really determined on, how you want to see it. If you want to save it and show it to all of your, management so they can see all the work that's going into everything that you're doing, you can save it as well. If you look forward into the next month, it'll show you everything that's scheduled. So you can see all of the campaigns right here that we have 9 campaigns running right now. But, here you can see the social posts. If I click into those again, you can see those. But it'll show you like, here's a webinar that we're doing. Here is a task that we have to do. So, it'll show you everything that needs to get done. And as tasks get done, which we'll dig into in just a second, those will disappear from the calendar. Any questions on the calendar views? All right. Another thing that you can do is tasks. The nice part about tasks is campaign tasks are separate from the tasks that you're going to have like within the sales tools, for example. You can look at anything that's due today or what's overdue, anything that's completed. But basically I can see, who everything was assigned to or which tasks were assigned to who. When people are done with them, they can mark them as complete. As the dates come up, you're actually going to get email reminders, or the person who owns it's going to get email reminders for that. And it's super easy to create a task. You can do it from almost any screen. If you create the task here, you can label it. You can say if it's, part of a blog email landing page or just no type. Select which campaign it belongs to, assign it to whoever you want with a due date. And then you can also put in notes. Now, one of the nice things about the notes is you can put in links as well. So if you're creating a blog post and it's going to be a curated post that references another article, you can put an article right in here, and then everybody's on the same page. They know what needs to be done, and you can kind of monitor how everything's progressing towards your campaigns. Any questions on the tasks?
Yeah, as you look at and as you're going through the calendar, Jen, is there a metric that should pop out at you that says that either this is an amazing campaign or a campaign that's really not doing what we expected it to?
That wouldn't necessarily be in the calendar view.
Okay.
The calendar view is really just activity.
It's just everything that's happening.
But
Okay.
as we look at the campaigns themselves, like for example, if I go to our webinar campaign, this is where I'm going to get that data about, all of the sessions and everything. This is where I'm going to assess how it's working for us. If you get this too many data points requested, just toggle that to monthly and you'll get more information. Again, if you click on any of the blue numbers, you are going to get totals or lists of new and influence contacts and closed deals. But I can also look at contacts or sessions, and we can see what the sources are for any of those, which is really, really helpful. Down here, like I said before, we can actually, release these carrots and look at the metrics on our, the emails or the forms, what's working, what's not. There might be times where, we don't want to include form information or, landing page information. Maybe we don't have landing pages, but we can look here just at some base information and say, ooh, you know what, I'm really not getting anything from this 331. I really like, I think the 1.8 landing page did much better. So maybe we just make some changes, make it more similar to one that's worked for us in the past. So you can do any of that with, the social posts, website pages, as well as workflows. And you can see how many have started. If you have goals, it'll, say how much, conversion you have with that as well. And then your traffic will tell you the sources that you're getting your traffic from. You can also, one of the cool tools in email, you can compare emails. And I've heard that this is going to come for social posts as well down the road, hopefully by the end of the year. If I click compare emails, so for example, maybe I want to look at emails within since this is webinars, maybe I want to look at my, thank you emails from any of them. So if I look at the January one, this is the December one, or actually that one hasn't gone out yet. You can compare up to 10 emails at once. So, maybe I'll look at the December one and the October one. We'll just go there. You can remove whatever you don't want to see. It's just going to bring up the last 4 that you have, or 10 that you have. You can also put date ranges in here if you want. And then it'll show you high level, what are your stats on the email? This October one, I really got no clicks or anything. I really probably need to look at my CTAs. Now, just a note on emails, this is a personal pet peeve of mine. You want to look at click-through rate. You don't want to look at click rate. I don't know another email program that shows you click rate. Click rate is basically how many people clicked divided by how many people received the email. Click-through rate looks at that same number of clicks divided by how many people opened it. You can't click on anything if you don't open it. So, looking at click-through rate, it's just a more relevant metric. Your open performance, the nice part about this is that it will actually show you the subject lines, which is really nice because that's, open performance is based on subject and preview text. And so we want to make sure that we're really, getting the information out to people so that they want to open our emails. You can look at your click performance, your email health, readability, as well as deliverability for just those emails. So it's a really nice way to compare what's working and what's not at a high level. Any questions on that?
You mentioned that social posting is probably coming.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. And I would imagine that would probably be like Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, maybe.
Yes, it would be anything that you have. It would look at your posts that you're sending out through the social media tools.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that currently posts or that is applicable. So WhatsApp probably wouldn't work. TikTok probably wouldn't work.
Snapchat.
Snapchat Connect. Yeah.
You are correct.
Okay.
Looking at attribution, it's going to look at your contacts that have been created. So asset type by contacts created. The various assets you have in there. What's working and what's creating the contacts for you. Interaction sources. And then also interaction types. You can adjust this by date range if you want. You can also save these reports or edit them in the report builder, but you can save them right to a dashboard if that's something that you want to do.
Are those all customizable, Jen? So like you can add different kinds?
It's semi-customizable. They're going to constrain you within the report that they have, but you can probably add additional filters if you want.
Got it.
You can also change your attribution model here if you want. If you want to look at first interactions, U-shape, time decay, you can change which attribution model you're looking at.
I should ask the dumb question. What is U-shaped?
So the nice part about all of these different attribution models and the way they did that, they actually give a description of how they weight things in the various attribution models they have. So U-shape gives 40% of the credit to the first and lead conversion interactions, with the remaining 20% spread out across the other interactions. So it's weighting things in a different way. But you can look at, all of the various, time decay, last interaction, first interaction. You can look at all of the attribution in different ways. With assets, from the performance screen to the asset screen is actually going to give you thumbnails. It's going to take you to the actual webinars. You can actually view the email if you click on it, or get the details also right here. So that's kind of nice. It's going to just bring you to those assets. So if you do have to make changes to them, you can quickly and easily. And then tasks would be your task list specifically for this campaign within a campaign. If you need to add assets that you've already created that aren't assigned, you can just click add assets and click on any of these things. So if I go to emails, it's going to bring me to all of my emails that I have in here. I can search for webinar and see, I can uncheck them or check them if I want to, and it will add or take them away from the list. Here you can clone a campaign if you want to do them year over year. You can also create tracking URLs if you need UTM codes right from here, as well as you can compare campaigns as well. So if I want to compare webinars to my inbound marketing ebook, I can look at overall performance of both of them. How many sessions have I created? How much influence revenue have I created? And then I can look at all the ad campaigns, blog posts. If I want to look at spend, if I want to look at clicks, I can look at all the views and who's gotten views on which blog posts for both campaigns. So it's really a nice tool that lets you compare these as well. That's new in the system also. If you want to create a campaign, you just click create campaign and you can just enter in all the information right here, and it makes it really easy. But some of my favorite reporting that we do here is in the analytics tools. If you go to reports and analytics tools, you have campaign analytics. And from this campaign analytics up here at the top, you can change your date range. I'm looking at a rolling year. I can look at how often, from a frequency standpoint. And if I want to, I can look at sessions, new contacts for either first or last touch, influence contacts, closed deals, and influenced revenue if I want to. So if I look at influenced revenue, I can see what campaigns are driving the revenue and the touches are working. Down here, I can select which ones I want to look at. So if I don't want to look at customer value and consultation, but maybe digital marketing, the LinkedIn guide, let's do the SEO checklist, inbound marketing ebook, I can come up here and it will completely change this. The nice part about this is what I can do is I can save this report to a dashboard, and I can save it multiple times. So if I want to look at influence revenue and what's driving that, I can save this report to a dashboard. I can also look at my sessions and see which campaigns are getting the most sessions on my website. And I can save both reports to dashboards however I want, if I want to look at this quarter versus last quarter or anything like that. Does that make sense?
It does. And I'm looking and I'm noticing a little bit of a trend, like especially on some of the other session or the other show or views that you were showing, that like for us, it looks like everything peels off or the value goes down the closer in time to current. So like September and August are lower than, it looks like March was a really big month for generating revenue. That kind of ties to seasonality for us, or
oh yeah, definitely.
It takes us a while to close those deals, right? So absolutely. You have to keep a note in, or just kind of beware so that you're not pushing things out and say, well, yes, the last 3 months it doesn't look like we've delivered a whole lot of revenue. Well, that's because it takes a while for the sales team to close those deals, and especially if you have I know earlier in your life, in your corporate life, you had 18-month lead times for programs that you were working with, right? Yep. So you have to keep that note and make sure that you're notifying, because again, we're trying to prove ROI. And totally. If you say, we're influencing, So what do you do for those that maybe don't get all the way to revenue yet, but you're trying to show, is it sessions? Like these are being
I would look at sessions or new contacts. If you
Okay.
have first touch contacts or last touch contacts, and you know you have a 6-month sales cycle. For example, if I look here, I can see I have 45 contacts that are first touch contacts on these campaigns. I know it's probably going to be another 6 months before they close. So we'll probably see a spike. It could be in June, could be in August, somewhere in there. So keeping in mind when you do your pushes and how long your sales cycle is really going to help with when you're determining budget and when to spend. A lot of people spend a lot of money typically during, the busy times of year for sales. I'm actually a proponent of spending a lot of money when it's not a busy time of year for sales, because that's typically when you can get the most bang for your buck.
Jen, are there specific HubSpot Academy courses that deal with how to set up campaigns? Or is there a place to get started that you would recommend for folks that are just trying for the first time?
There is a lesson. It's not a certification. Campaigns are touched on in the marketing software certification, but there is a campaigns lesson in the academy. To get to the academy, you just go, click up in the upper right, and you can get to the HubSpot Academy, and you can find it from there.
Let's maybe back that out a little and just say that if for the people in the audience, is that there's a vast encyclopedic resource that is at your fingertips known as HubSpot Academy to make you all better at this. And that is any number of hundreds of different topics, sales or marketing related, that can make you get better and smarter at not only using HubSpot, but more importantly, growing your company.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Before I get out of demo mode, does anybody have any questions or anything they want me to touch on?
And Jen, I think what might make sense is to close out the recorded spot or the recorded part of our conversation and then open it up to everybody, and I'll just stop recording.
Well, I have a few more slides to go.
Yeah, let's finish through those, and then we'll open it up, because I'm sure there are some offline questions that we can handle too.
Sure, absolutely. So Inbound just happened, and with Inbound from HubSpot, their big conference every year, that's of course when they have all of the new information, new feature sets, and campaigns was one of the things that they tried to focus on this year. So campaign collaboration tools. This is really cool, and I forgot to show it to you, unfortunately. I could jump over and do it if you want, but you can actually comment now within almost anywhere in HubSpot, honestly, but definitely within the campaigns. If I jump over to the campaigns, you can see that there's this new toolbar right here where you can quickly do comments, tasks, or you can look at the calendar and what's happening on any given day, tasks related that you have coming up, as well as you can comment. If you mention someone, one of the users in your database, they're going to get an email saying that they were mentioned, and it can link them right to the comment within the campaign. So if you need a status update, if you need, anything else, you can comment back and forth and use it as a little campaign message board if you'd like.
If you're reporting to your boss, like, hey boss,
Absolutely.
we just crushed this. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that is live right now. Looking, the calendar has been changed, so now it does show all activities and tasks. So tasks didn't used to show on the calendar. It's even showing things that are in draft mode if you have a tentative date selected. So if you have a social post that you think is going out but it's not published yet, it should populate to your campaign. The campaign comparisons that I went over. Like I showed you, this can be a really powerful tool for you. Like for your example before, where you want to compare your trade shows, Jennifer, on your, and how they've really helped, get you leads and how the campaigns have performed. You can pull all of your trade shows up. You can I think you can export that information as well. So that's really exciting. And you can get down to the asset level. And then all the reporting reporting enhancements. So you can show real-time, the campaign's performance will show you real-time asset interaction performance. With the campaign's analytics tools, you'll gain insights on the influenced revenue sessions and things like that. And then the attribution reporting that's in Marketing Pro and above from the custom reporting that you can do, you can give a full picture of what sources are leading to your campaigns. So for example, that was, I think I was looking at the various campaigns that we have down there. You can get a bar graph, for example, of, really what the sources are, what it's leading to in whatever time frame that you want. Does that make sense?
Cool.
So that's what I have. I'm really excited to be able to present this to you. I'd love to be able to talk to you about, any other questions you have. But this is the end of the slide deck anyway.
And I'm going to stop recording. We're going to publish this up to YouTube after this. So Jennifer asks, this might be very granular, but are you weighting influenced revenue between different campaigns?
You cannot do that within the campaigns tool, but you can do that within the attribution reporting. You can also, if you have an enterprise program, Marketing Enterprise does give you data set capabilities, so you can create data sets and do calculations within them to weight them the way you want.
Wow.